The Hangar Z podcast welcomes Lieutenant Brad May and Sergeant Dustin Gomez of the Pasadena PD Air Support Unit.
We have a good push for the Olympics, and that was part of it. I have a chief that came in about 3 years ago that saw the vision that I've been, myself and people before me have been screaming that we need to move forward. Our fleet is safe, but it's time.
Yeah.
So, we're looking at, we just inked a contract on February 4th of this year with CNC to purchase 2 new Bell 505s.
Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts and partnered with Vertical Valor Plus. Today's episode was recorded on the floor of Verticon in Atlanta at the Vertical Plus booth. We had a great week at Verticon and several great conversations, and this was one of them. Today's guests are Lieutenant Brad May and Sergeant Dustin Gomez of Pasadena PD's Air Support Unit. Lieutenant Brad May has a unique history in the unit. He's been there as an officer, a sergeant, and now the lieutenant of the unit. Great conversation about that. Sergeant Dustin Gomez, outside sergeant, no aviation, comes into the aviation unit and talks about how unique that is and about learning the ins and outs and all of the new information in an air support unit. We also discussed the purchase of 2 new Bell 505s for the unit. They worked with CNC Technologies to get everything done, the whole package, and we'll talk about that relationship with CNC and how unique it is. This was a great conversation on the floor of Verticon. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to all of you that listen and watch. We really appreciate your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you to our sponsors, BLR Aerospace, Metro Aviation, and Dallas Avionics.
Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts. The Hangar Z podcast is the first and only podcast dedicated to promoting and exploring the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation.
Still southbound, skidding to a stop. Stand by here. Looks like you're getting ready to bail. Heads up, guys, bailing. Okay, the guy, he's running through the house, jumping the fence, through the shotgun, through something out. Grabbing the shotgun. Don't go over that fence. Don't go over that fence. Grab the shotgun again. He is armed. Stay there. Hold your position.
Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts and partnered with Vertical Valor Plus at Verticon in Atlanta, Georgia. Verticon 2026, Atlanta, Georgia, at the Vertical Valor Plus booth.
Yeah. Within
the Vertical booth. This is great. We love doing this. With me is John Gray, of course, the creator of the Hangar Z podcast. It's great so far, huh?
Yeah, good afternoon. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
First day of Verticon is one of the best. I think there's so much anticipation that goes into the show every year. You get to day one and everyone's pumped to be here. It's cool.
The vendors are excited for sure.
Vendors are excited. Yeah. All the attendees they haven't had too many beers yet, so they're usually pretty responsive. But it's been cool, as you guys will see. We're hanging out here, all the glasses. This used to be frosted. So we'd be talking in here and people would poke their head in there, but you couldn't see otherwise. There would be people coming around making fun of us and stuff during the conversation, which is a blast. I love it.
Yeah. We there's people that we know from over the years and they're all coming by and waving down. It's great. So this is really nice. We have an opportunity to have the two of you with us because this is very timely for you guys and what we're going to talk about with some new aircraft coming, which is very exciting for any unit. And we're going to get to that. And this is representatives of the Pasadena Police Department today. We've got Lieutenant Bradley May. I had to remember that because I knew Sergeant Bradley May and I think even Officer Bradley May,
yeah.
Right?
When I met you, sure.
Oh, man, it's been so long.
It's been a while.
So Bradley, welcome to the Hangar Z. And Sergeant Dustin Gomez. Dustin, it's great to meet you and welcome to the Hangar Z.
Thank you for having me very much.
We're thrilled. We reached out to Bradley and said, man, you guys are going to be there with new aircraft coming, and this will be a good opportunity to sit down and learn about that and the relationship with CNC and making that happen for you. So we got a lot to talk about in the short time we got. So what we like to do in the beginning is just find out more about you. We know some about you, but let's share it with our visitors. And rank has its privilege here, Lieutenant. So, Lieutenant.
They're not going to let me forget that, huh?
No, I'm not, Bradley. I'm so happy for you, too.
Well, I'm surprised myself when I look in the mirror sometimes and see it on there. I'm like, really?
How'd that get there?
I just think it's so cool that you went through 3 ranks within air support. You've been at 3 ranks.
Yeah.
And that's rare. I'm trying to think if I know anybody like that. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
So congratulations. You're the first one I know.
Thanks.
So, Bradley, tell us about your background and what got you to where you're at.
Yeah, so it was always a dream of mine watching Chips as a little kid and wanted to be in law enforcement. So, that's what I did. And so I started out working patrols, we all do. Went to our special enforcement section, gangs, SWAT team, and all that. 9/11 hit, went into our counterterrorism unit. And when it was time to leave that unit, decided one of my old sergeants asked me to come to air support. He was in air support newly up there. And he said, we need, tactical people, and I think it'd be good for you. Never thought I'd do anything in aviation, but loved it and came on in as a TFO. Ultimately, the first chief TFO or senior TFO, what we call it, Pasadena. Also did LA Impact as a TFO. That's why I worked a lot with you guys, with LAPD. Did a lot of training also when I became the first senior TFO. I worked with Jaime Marin and some of the guys in George and you guys. That's where you guys helped us out a ton. Yeah. Great partners. So got into it, became promoted out as a corporal, went back down to patrol, did special events, putting on stuff at the Rose Bowl and all that. Was fortunate enough to come back as a sergeant. Yeah. And did a couple, 2.5 years as a sergeant, and my lieutenant retired, and I promoted to lieutenant 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Wow. And we were just talking, you got about 1.5 years to go.
Yes.
As a lieutenant. I mean, that's great. Again, very unique. Did you have anything like that?
There's not many people I know that have been able to promote and come back to aviation like that. Yeah. That's really cool.
And 3 ranks.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of 2s. George Gonzalez, I was a TFO, left, made sergeant, left, came back as a sergeant. Okay. But then to make lieutenant and be there, that's pretty cool.
I guess Drew Nicoletti is one that
there you go.
That,
okay. Okay, there's a note. Drew, I apologize.
Good, I'm not that special. So.
No. But hold on. Was Drew there as an officer?
Yeah.
He was.
As a pilot, I believe.
There you go. All right, there's 2. 2 in the entire United States, Bradley. And Drew's a great dude, too. I mean, he's just a great man, great leader. That's really cool. I think we met when you were probably still a TFO, right?
Yeah.
And then the senior TFO. I remember coming up and helping you with oral interviews one time, right?
Yep.
That was really cool.
Yeah, exactly. And then the class, I mean, incredible. And we have your book on the shelf still. We give it to all our trainees.
Yeah. And we still use your book as reference during that. Every presentation we give the post. I don't know if you know our class is now post-certified.
Oh,
and we got a picture of your book up there. And we say a lot of the tactics that we teach in this class is pursuit and containment come from Jeff.
Thank you so much.
It lives on for sure.
The copy you guys have, is it chiseled in stone?
It's definitely worn. The pages are worn for sure.
And I'm gonna say, I gotta say it. You gotta encourage everyone to get their own. It's very important. How am I going to buy new floor mats for the car each year? I mean, I want to get those laser measured floor mats, with my proceeds from the book. Come on, man.
We tell them
that's
to buy
very
it.
nice. Thank you very much. Those are kind words. I appreciate it. Dustin, tell us your journey here.
Sure. So not a traditional. I didn't always have the dream to be a cop. In fact, it wasn't even an option until I got out of the military. I was in the Navy for 5 years. And I really didn't know what to do. I was going to college, and in the military, if you save $2,000 and you're rich. So I got out of the Navy with $2,500. I thought I'm going to put myself through college, and I got through a semester, and I was living with my parents and out of money, and I really didn't know what to do. So I just I had a couple uncles and cousins that were in law enforcement. And they said, "Give it a shot, apply." And I said, "I never thought about it, but I did." And sure enough, the first agency I applied for, the Sheriff's Department, Los Angeles County, got picked up. So I went to the academy there and worked the jails for about 7 or 8 months, and I realized that probably wasn't something I wanted to do for the next 5 or 6 years. So I lateraled over to Pasadena. Again, I had a relative who worked there, and Pasadena is big enough that it has all the bells and whistles and the special assignments that a smaller agent or that a larger agent, LAPD and the sheriffs had. But we're small enough that with everybody. You walk the hallways and you know everybody's name, but still have the benefits of the big department. So. That's what I did. Same thing. I kind of the same path as Lieutenant May here. We did actually everyone in our operation basically has the same path where they start out in the patrol and they end up in a special assignment, whether it's gangs or SWAT. I did the gangs and the SWAT, and then I went was a FTO field training coordinator And then I went to detectives after that, worked detectives, robbery and homicide for a little bit. I got promoted to sergeant, went to patrol for about 4.5 years. And then an opening opened up in air operations. And Lieutenant Bradley May calls me up and says, "Are you interested?" I said, "I sure am." He says, "Okay, it's going to be a lot of work." I said, "Well, okay." And sure enough, here I am 4 years later. So
Wow.
it's definitely a journey. Going from law enforcement into aviation. I didn't grow up in aviation, so learning it as a sergeant.
Yeah, it's a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very, very challenging.
Yeah, we talk about that with a lot of guests.
Yep.
I just talked to Yvette about that. Her episodes dropped this week, and she described it as foreign language. You come there and it's like somebody speaking a foreign language.
Right.
You go,
It is.
What does that mean? I mean, all these words and terms and that are important, you don't even understand it. Was it difficult, or did you get help? How did you work through that?
So yeah, on top of that, everybody up in our operations has to. You're not just a sergeant. I'm not just a sergeant. I'm a TFO. So I had to learn to become a TFO at the same time I was learning that foreign language.
Oh my goodness, that's even more.
At the same time of learning this foreign language, at the same time I was dealing with all the vendors. So I would meet with the mechanics every morning at 6 o'clock as the sergeant. 6 o'clock in the morning. Talk about the maintenance plan for the day or for the week and even for the year. And then they'd say, "Hey, we need a TT strap," and I go, "Great, TT strap. Get a couple of those things." And
Those are like $5, right?
yeah, I don't know what that is. Get
Get
the
a Walmart
get these
or
easy- yeah, go-
Costco or
right. So learning that process, right?
Is
And
that
then
something?
I'm sorry, how many grand did you say that was? And they only last for how long? And
Yeah.
it's not only the language, but it's the parts, right? It's
Right.
the maintenance aspect of it, right? Because as the sergeants, we have to do the purchase orders. So it's learning multiple languages. But I can tell you, after 4 years, just now barely feeling comfortable where I can go out to the hangar, I can talk to mechanics about
Yeah.
parts. I can go in the helicopter and talk with the pilots about flying.
Right,
So,
right.
And I can and teach the new TFOs coming up. So
Yeah.
it took a long time to do all that as the sergeant, as opposed to going up. I think the route he took would have been much better. Not to say easier, but much better.
Yes, it's not
It
easier,
is-
but it is different, right?
It's actually easier because he's trying to learn and be taught by some of the people he's supervising, and you know
Yeah.
how cops can be. So,
Oh, yeah.
and we have a good group of
What do you
people,
mean?
but I don't know.
What do you mean cops?
So
Us?
it's a little challenging for sure.
Yeah.
What? I'm going to get back to
Sure.
your beginning, but I want to know something. You said something there that you said, and Lieutenant May called me. What caused that phone call to say, "I'm going to call Dustin and ask him to apply for this position"? You
Well, it was
obviously
actually-
knew him.
Yeah.
What was it about him that you saw that you wanted?
Well, I had seen that he was interested. The word travels a little bit, so I knew he
Okay.
was interested in the position. There was a very few that were really pursuing it like he was. As you know, it's a passion, and it's something that you can't I want to kind of try that. That's not.
No.
I hear kids now say, "I think I want to try law enforcement. I want to try,"
No.
that kind of thing. And
Gotta
this
dive
is
in.
even worse. And so, I knew the passion was there. So, we kicked it around, and
Yeah.
he was the guy. And so,
That's interesting.
About 8 years prior to being selected, I told you I got promoted to corporal, and I went to detectives, and I had just made homicide detective. When the previous lieutenant had called me and said, "Hey, I know you're interested," and I said, "Had I that week? I said, last week I'd be in a flight suit. I said, this week I just made homicide. I said,
It's a big deal.
it's a big deal. It's a huge deal, and I worked hard to get there because I didn't see an opening
Right.
in the air ops for a while. So I said, I'm going to take this path, and it just so happened. So anyway, it was there. I've always had the passion to go up there, and it just never. It just timing wasn't right.
Yeah.
It didn't work
Yeah.
out
The
until
stars aligned, and,
It did.
and you had the opportunity.
And
Very
it
good.
Took 20 years to get there, but
That's
but
okay.
yeah,
That's
for sure.
okay. I want to ask you a couple more things about that transition, but first, what did you do in the Navy?
I was electronics technician on a submarine.
Really?
That's cool.
So instead of going up in the air, I
Oh.
went down underwater. Went to go hide.
You have
So-
courage, man.
So the news of this week with the submarine
That was-
must have been
There's
interesting
a lot
for
of
you.
memes coming my way with inappropriate gestures
bet.
about all the Navy guys blowing.
Oh, but as soon as I saw that, I was sitting there with my wife, and I said, I would like the recording of the cheering in that submarine. I bet it was deafening.
Yeah.
With when they said we did it.
Yeah.
I mean, first
And
time since
World War II.
Since World War II.
And you could see in the Periscope video, that's everyone jumping up and down. And just screaming.
That
Yeah,
is
yeah.
so amazing.
So,
amazing. So the whole time in the Navy, you were a submariner?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's an electronic. So let me ask you this.
Sure.
Now you're at air support, and all of a sudden You're dealing with that topic again. Are you finding that to be easier because of your background?
100%. So a lot of we talk about, we didn't have avionics in the submarine, but we had, cabling. We had our owner and
miles of it, right?
Miles of it, and all of that translated. We had hydraulics, right? That operate the just like the planes underwater. They operate so a lot of that did transition. I understood hydraulic pressure. I understood the amperage, and all of that came easy. So it probably helped a lot on that aspect. But putting the pieces together, build the building blocks, and that was definitely one of them that was a little bit easier for me to pick up on.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And you have a basic knowledge, because a lot of people, even pilots, I don't know, how you guys felt, but electric systems was challenging to understand. You probably, when you're being taught things about the electric systems, you're probably going, that's easy to understand.
It's a different system. We didn't have 24 volts versus 240, but it's a good system.
But you understand circuit breakers and what they do and how they work, and all that. That's interesting. That's interesting.
I see a wiring diagram and my eyes get crossed.
I know.
I don't know if you feel like that.
I'm helpless.
Yeah.
I was a mess when it came to that.
I'm better with dealing with people. That's for Dustin to do.
And I'm better with the wiring diagrams than people, so it works out.
It's actually a good leader, right?
True story.
Delegation.
Sergeant Gomez, please step up to the plate here. I have a question for you. Well, that's interesting. Advice for a new supervisor of any rank that comes into an aviation unit and doesn't know anything, but is eager.
So
advice.
I would say check your ego at the door. He talked a little bit about being trained by people that you supervise. So you have to be able to balance. So I'll give you an example. We had an employee who was tardy often, but he was teaching me at the same time. So how do I counsel him on being tardy, not showing up, versus, now that we're done with this, show me some more stuff on what I need to know. So it's a little bit of exaggeration on the, but it's having to lead and hold accountable subordinates at the same time. Okay, now come show me how to save my own life, so I don't trip in the helicopter, kind of thing.
After he pushes you down.
Right. But that was the most difficult part. But like he said, we have a good group, so nobody really gave me a hard time. But I'll tell you that the training I got as a supervisor going up there wasn't the same, because I was expected to know more. I was expected to be able to perform, I'd say, quicker, whereas the trainees that come up now, are hand-fed basic stuff, which was fine, because a lot of times I'd get pulled away because I had to go do supervisor duty. So mid-training on the camera, right, get pulled aside. So, and I didn't get to fly as much either because I was the sergeant. So we would have meetings, so I didn't get to fly every day like all the typical trainees do. So that would be my suggestion, is a work balance for sure.
That question you posed sounds like an interview question, one of those theoretical things, like you go into the workplace and you have to deal with, that sounds like an interview question, what you just talked about. But from your perspective, when you brought him into the unit, what advice would you offer for what exactly he just described?
Thank you to our sponsor, BLR Aerospace. BLR Aerospace's revolutionary fast fin system improves performance and enhances safety across various helicopter platforms. This cutting-edge aftermarket solution improves tail rotor effectiveness, stability, and payload capacity while reducing fuel consumption and pilot fatigue. Trusted globally, FastFin delivers unmatched control, efficiency, and reliabilities for diverse helicopter operations. Learn more at blraerospace.com.
It was definitely humility, because you're going to get humbled real quick. Anyway, this profession anyway, there's so much that you don't know. And so it was just like, take it in. It's going to hit you. We're talking like drinking through a fire hose. It's going to hit you at all different levels and all different waves. And we can't possibly get to everything and have a set format of how today we're going to do this, next day we're going to do it. It's just, we can do that with the TFOs starting new, but with him, like you said, they don't have to learn about the budget stuff. They don't have to learn about all the other supervisory stuff. They don't have to. And so it's double, triple the effort that he has to put in. But being humble and just knowing that everybody goes through it, not necessarily everybody goes through the sergeant thing, but people before him have done it. And he's gonna succeed. You just got to stay the course.
Yeah. Did he warn you of that when you showed up?
The phone call we had, I remember I was at the DMV. My son had just turned 16. I was waiting for him to do the driving test, and he calls me and he said, "This is going to be very difficult. It's going to be a lot of work you have to do." And he tried to explain it to me, his purchase orders, and I said, "Yeah, what's so hard about it, right? And until you sit there and you have to deal with the vendors, and you have to deal with not only the vendors but the city budget side, right? And there's so many checks and balances and redundancy, and I just want to buy a TT strap, guys. And they're like, oh, I don't care what you want to buy. You need 16 forms of ID, and so it was difficult, but I didn't appreciate what he was telling me until I was sitting there.
Yeah,
for sure.
But in hindsight, that was helpful, huh?
Last week, 2 weeks ago, somebody came up, another sergeant who heard that my partner was retiring, Mark, and was kind of poking around and going, hey, I'm thinking of coming up as a sergeant. And I said, where do I start? And we had a whole 30-minute conversation about, look, you don't want to do this. It's hard. And you got a perfect job in detective. Sit there if you don't want to. He goes, no, I want the work. So I tried to explain it to him.
Yeah.
So,
good for you. Passing it on.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then I had the benefit of Mark Mendenhall, who we talked about earlier. I went to the academy with him. He's a CFI pilot. He went from the same vein. He went from sergeant or officer to sergeant. He skipped the corporal rank, the 2-stripe rank, and promoted straight to sergeant and stayed in air support. So he stayed there the entire. Once he got in there, so that helped have a solid sort of. I lean on him a lot, and that's sort of having that his partner and having that solid, kind of 3-headed monster there to help get through it. But it's challenging every day still.
Yeah. When you got selected and you went to APSCON the next time, did you get to go to the unit manager's course?
I did. It was a requirement. He said.
Okay.
So
I made him.
How did that help?
Good call, huh?
It did. So a lot of the stuff, being a sergeant in general, you have to go through a supervisory school. It's just patrol sergeant, right? You got to go to. So a lot of the methods and the supervisory stuff they teach you in that school translated to this, but obviously now you have to learn the safety aspect of it, right? So instead of barricaded suspects, now you're dealing with aircraft and
barricaded mechanic,
right, or lack of mechanics, right? So a lot of it translated as far as the supervisory big picture. But it just obviously the supervisory course at APSCON was our unit manager's course was more oriented towards definitely. If you're new to aviation as a manager, you have to go to that course for sure. Yeah. I recommend it. It touches on all safety and a lot of it. I did be able to rely back on during my time up there for sure.
Cool.
I think the tactical background is understated. It really that small team environment, working with within. Those confines of being close to partners and having that high stress and systems, all the systems in place that we do in aviation, that tactical, that it carries over. And I said that was an advantage, I think, for me when I came in, when he came in, because it really does lead into that naturally to stay really system oriented as you have to be as a TFO and a pilot.
No doubt. Man, what did you notice about being in that same unit at 3 ranks? That's unique, as we discussed. What did you learn in those 2 transitions you had? There must have been some stuff that came up where you went, I didn't see that coming, and you learned a lesson that you could share.
Well, I laugh because it was a lot. Each time you go up, you look at those in front of you and go, what are they really doing? It can't be that hard. Really? And I'm sure Dustin's doing that to me. Like, what the hell does he do? I'm right around the corner. He's like,
give me those bars. That's no big deal.
What is he doing in there? Seriously. So, it's learning the rank, and it's different. Lieutenant was a big jump for me. I always thought if ever I would be sergeant at top out as a sergeant. And I said, that's all I want to do. But then when the opportunity was there, and Mike Ingram, my former lieutenant, left, and he's like, you got to carry this on. You got to take the test and get. I said, I don't want anything to do with that. Yeah. And so, but I did, and I'm glad I did.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, I mean, carrying the whole load is different. The work, the everyday work, and what I delegate and all those things are that. But carrying the everyday load. Yeah. And I'm one of those guys who's tough to turn it off, and I live close to the action in the work and stuff, and so even hearing the helicopters, it takes you in lying in bed and you hear the helicopter, you're thinking about, I know who's flying and what are they doing right now. Not that I'm that, but it takes
curious,
you,
right?
How could you not,
right? It gets you back in that thinking about, tomorrow I got to do this and that. So I think just overall managing every day, kind of guiding the ship and kind of managing every day is a different type of work than having the specific tasks as a sergeant does. But I rely heavily on both of my sergeants. They're both great, and they both really run the operation. And so I try to believe in the chain of command. So they'll pop in my office, and I say, okay, what did the sergeant say? And that's not the answer they want. And they'll go back and then figure it out through that way. Sometimes I get involved, and sometimes I don't. Just like parenting.
Yeah.
You know.
As you're saying that, that's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
My kid doesn't get the answer he wants from mom. He comes to me.
Yeah.
And then when mom finds out that they came to me to ask, and she already said no, then we got problems.
Yeah, then the problems begin. What? Just so I know too. I think I know. You're it. You're at air support. You are the top rung. You answer to someone, but they're not at air support.
That's correct.
So it's yourself as a lieutenant, 2 sergeants. Who do you answer to, and what are they in charge of with Pasadena PD?
Yeah, so I answer my commander, Bill Gersafi. He's on his way out here for the exciting news that we'll talk about a little later.
Yep.
But he's coming out, and of course my chief is as well.
Yeah.
But Commander Gersafi is who I direct report. He did a year and a half in air support before he promoted.
Did.
So he's got a unique, a little bit of knowledge is dangerous. I won't say that too, but no,
I won't tell him he said that.
Yeah,
and this, we'll edit that out. No, we won't.
No, he's a really good guy, really good boss. And so, so he gets that, is able to carry that on in the command staff meetings of certain things.
Sure.
But he relies on me, and the chief relies heavily on me to they don't, if I say it and, they have that trust that's the direction we need to go or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a good relationship.
Well, you've been in there a long time.
Right.
You know the operation. You know the equipment. You know the operation. You know the people.
Yep.
So I would hope that they would trust you with that. You have more knowledge on that than anybody else. So,
which is kind of scary, but
yeah, it is. Isn't it?
It really is.
But you're it at the office. You're
Correct.
you're the commanding officer
Right.
of air support.
So my commander oversees traffic section, the motor section. He oversees the jail, community services.
Yeah. So he's got all sorts
and
of
then
stuff
he has
on his
Then
plate.
he has the SWAT team collaterally and the crisis negotiation team, which I'm the
Nothing
lieutenant
else?
over.
That's
that.
it?
That's it.
That's all he's got?
That's all he's got.
I have to talk to him tomorrow. I want to meet him and say, you gotta spread your wings a little bit.
I don't know how he has time to come out here, but whatever.
Exactly. That's amazing. So no wonder he needs to rely on you,
Right.
because he's got a lot on his plate. Wow. Yeah. Well, good. He's got a good person to have in there. So back. Let's go back to. I want to learn more submarine stuff, but we'll let that go.
I keep asking. I've heard more today than every time I ask. He gets on fire. He says I can't
We've
talk
had
about
that happen before. But they go, "What? You did that?" And then you go, "How come you told John and Jack that? I've been your partner for 10 years." Isn't that funny how that stuff comes out? I'd love to hear more about some areas because it's fascinating to me. I'm claustrophobic. I could never do it, but it is fascinating. But I'm just curious. So you went through full TFO training as a sergeant as well.
Yes.
How long was that process?
It took about 2 months.
Okay.
So during the training itself, I'd fly maybe twice a day, 3 maybe 4 times a week. So once you get through the basic solo, right, you can go out there by yourself without somebody sitting behind you and pulling your hair. About 2 months, right, and then after that, okay, now you're back to doing your sergeant duties. Well, a part-time TFO. So, right, we had a daytime TFO who I was basically taking his time by flying, learning. Yeah. Now that we have a normal daytime TFO who flies it, and I act as the sergeant. If he goes, takes a day off or something, I'll fill in. Or if there's a spot where somebody takes a day off, I'll fill in, things like that.
Okay, so that's how that works. You fill in where as needed. And you have the skills to do that because they taught you the skills, but you're also the sergeant, so you got a lot of other things going on as well.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, and in the book, the sign-off process. I mean, we have a book. It's like he's charged the FTO program, and so it's modeled after that. And you're checking off tasks and things, and so he's got to get signed off as a certified tactical flight officer. So.
Wow, good. Wow, that's good. That and have you found? And you've been there 4 years now?
4 years. Yeah.
So in that 4 years, thinking back in hindsight. I mean, that was just part of the deal. You're going to go through TFO training. Talk about how that TFO training has benefited you as a sergeant over the past 4 years.
Well, I could tell you that as the TFOs, we build on our patrol experience, right? I mean, you have to have had a successful or at least some time as a patrol, in my opinion, in patrol. And before coming up there, I was a patrol sergeant, so I was be able to sit back and manage instead of being a first responder. I was like a 4th or 5th responder as the supervisor. I'd show up and
like with the firemen.
Right, but they were behind me even.
There we go.
So, sorry, we love our firemen. So using that of being able to sit back and watch and kind of direct really helps in the sky, right? You can kind of sit back, direct. You can see from still being a first line. I need my containment. I need my bodies here, but I was able to kind of step back a little bit instead of being so immersed in the whatever the problem is that I couldn't step back and find my solution, what resources do I need.
Yeah.
So being able to call on those resources really helped. As far as how it helped me be a supervisor going forward, I'm not sure. I'll tell you this, it helps me better manage those that are TFOs at the program, right?
Sure.
So knowing their job, you have to be a successful supervisor. You have to know what your employees are supposed to be doing, right? So it helped me in that aspect. Had I not done the TFO route, but I was supposed to be a TFO, supervise these TFOs. I don't think I'd be successful, right? I can listen to the call, and I could look at their logs and their arrest rates, and I could see if they're doing their job and how productive they are, and be able to evaluate them appropriately. So getting that training did help me internally manage them.
Yeah,
Sure.
and it was a natural credibility thing too. And we, again, we talk about cops and what everybody's judging everybody or whatever. If you don't have that credibility, you're never going to. So he had to do that to be success, to even start to be set up to be successful.
Right.
The work had to be done by him, but it had to be, that had to be the process.
And it's pretty fun too.
It was, yeah.
Isn't it?
It was a learning,
it's
for
such
sure.
a great game.
It was definitely one of the hardest things in law enforcement I had to learn, for sure. The single hardest multitasking job that I've ever had.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. And it just is.
Time for your quote.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the hardest job in law enforcement when done correctly.
When done correctly.
Correct.
By far.
There you go.
I mean, you could sit on your hands and do nothing.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty easy job to sit there and go, fly me around. But if you're doing it like you should be doing it and communicating, coordinating, thinking tactically, hardest job in law enforcement.
As you guys say, looking for work.
That's
Always
right. Looking for work.
Yeah.
Always looking for something, and it's amazing the things that you will see if you're in that mode, When we all know people, and maybe you've experienced where you look at someone and go, that guy's coming out the back door of the house with a TV, and you get a burglar. I mean, those things happen. People don't, the average citizen has no idea that can be done from the air, but it sure can.
And it's amazing when it does.
And cars leaving at a rapid speed from a business, and you go,
Call the business. See if they just get
exactly.
robbed.
Yeah. And they go, yes, we just been robbed. Oh, how about that? So very interesting. That was great. Before we get to the big news about it, let's hear, because we want to represent Pasadena here too. And you guys can decide who does what, but why don't you tell us about Pasadena area, population and stuff, and then tell us about the aviation, the department, and then the aviation unit. Kind of break it down, city, department, and then the aviation unit, personnel kind of things.
You want to hit the city first?
Sure. So the city, about 26 square miles. I want to say a daytime population of 160, 180 residents.
1,000.
What'd it say?
1,000. 100. So 180,000 people in there on daytime because of the business.
Actually, more during daytime.
Those are residents. I'm sorry, those are residents.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So
160 population about residents,
Gotcha.
and then daytime upwards or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
okay.
So 26 square miles. The police department itself, I think we're slated for 240 or 230 or something, but I think we can never catch up, right? Again, with the other agencies,
that's not a trick question. People think that's a trick question. Making fun of, making faces at me. That's very nice, Nigel. Sonoma County. Just so we know who the suspect is. He's got a thick accent. He's very handsome. Anyway, what was I going to say? I lost it.
the
there.
agency, the personnel,
Being short personnel.
It's not a trick question, but it sounds like it in today's world because nobody knows the number anymore.
Right.
I mean, we all knew the number. How many Ontario have? Boom. LAPD. How many? 9,980. I remember saying that. Nobody can do that now because we're all in the same boat. Everybody's short. So how many short do you think about?
I'm going to say maybe 20.
Yeah, somewhere at 15.
Not bad.
But we're always hiring. We're always, our recruitment efforts, we're
Absolutely.
we're going to air shows, we're going to car shows,
Yeah.
we're going to, you name it for these recruitments. And it seems like, every time you hire 10, 11 retire.
Yes.
It's just, it's
hard.
It's
hard, and it's harder than ever. But that's not bad. I mean, 20.
it's proportional with 900, 9,980, so it's proportional. But it could be worse, for
There's
sure.
departments that they tell us the numbers, and we go, oh my God, how do they even function?
Right.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So that Pasadena's doing pretty good there.
we're doing pretty good. Yeah.
So aviation unit, talk about personnel and how it's set up because it's unique. Tell us about that uniqueness.
Yeah, so like I
of
said,
your unit.
the 2 sergeants, 1 lieutenant, 2 sergeants. I have a corporal who just got his CFI, so our second CFI. Then we have 3 line pilots work patrol positions. We pretty much work 7 a.m. during the week to 5 for the day shift and 4 to 2 in the night shift. Put some extra shifts on the weekend for the foothill air support team, which is another aspect we'll talk about.
Yes.
But so we have that. Then we have about 8 TFOs, which is a total of about 15 of us up there in the unit. 2 full-time mechanics. We're slated for 3, but currently we have 2, and then a facility worker that manages our facility. So we're off-site, which is nice, right there tucked north of the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
and,
it's a great spot.
Just behind JP, or just south of JPL there.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to fight for airspace or traffic control or anything. We can launch it and come back as we please. So it's very, very good spot. Like you said, had we not had it in 1969,
started in 69, we would never be in that place right now.
That's a nice spot.
Yeah, I love that spot.
Yeah, it really is.
There'd be some big house there.
Oh yeah,
some multi-millionaire house there.
Thanks to our sponsor, Dallas Avionics, who provides innovative products to law enforcement, the Department of Defense, Homeland Security, military, air medical, search and rescue, and special missions operations. Dallas Avionics distributes OEM equipment, including communications equipment, digital audio systems, PA systems, flight tracking, and other mission-critical devices. Visit DallasAvionics.com for more details.
So I have to talk about my unique flight into your guys' hangar one time.
You've had a unique flight into that?
A very unique flight. So we had picked up a ride along from the chief's office.
Mm-hmm.
You might have been there, actually. And
depends what you're about to tell me. I'm a lieutenant now, as you know.
Yeah, we got 2 ride-alongs in the back. Again, relatives of the chief. We're flying out towards Santa Monica. We're going to do a beach run. And straight and level flight, right? There's no turbulence. It's fine. Let me back up. When we pick the riders up, you guys good flying? Oh, we're fine. So we start heading westbound, straight and level, and all of a sudden the female's like, I don't feel too good. About 10 minutes into the flight, she has to throw up, pulls her sweatshirt out, throws up down her sweatshirt. And we're probably about 5 minutes from your guys' place, heading westbound. We're like, oh boy, we got to stop. We got to go somewhere. Who do we know around here? Oh, Pasadena. So we hit you guys up. I think we're trying to raise you on air to air. Hey, we need to come in and land your facility. And you guys let us come in. We took care of our passenger, helped clean herself up, thank God. And we were able to fly back home with her nasty clothes in a trash bag.
No beach run?
No beach run. No. But you guys were very gracious to let us in there, so thank you very much.
Welcome.
You're quite welcome.
They still smell it.
Oh my gosh.
That's all. Yeah. Everybody's got a puke story.
Yes, we
all do, don't we? And sometimes it's the officer that's in it. You know? But that's funny. That is funny. So talk more about the unit. Let's go to airframes. Talk about airframes without giving up the big announcement. Talk about the airframes that you got currently.
We have a pretty mixed fleet. So the city owns 5 helicopters, and then we house and maintenance a 6 helicopter for a task force, LE Impact Task Force. So we have 6 up there at the heliport. It was built for 2 Instroms back in '69, and then we've expanded greatly, but we had to build a north hangar, which we're going to do it again pretty soon as well. But we have 3 OH-58s surplus from the military. One of them mainly is a trainer. Dustin's flying right now, training to be a pilot. We have a Bell 206 Jet Ranger, an MD-500 E model, and then we have the A-Star B2. That's the LE Impacts Task Force helicopter. Yeah. So that's one of the things we're trying to do, standardize our fleet.
Yeah.
So
we'll touch on this real quick. Pilot training.
Yes, sir.
So how far along are you?
I got just under 60 hours.
Okay.
Got all the ground school and everything out of the way. So I think Mark, who's our CFI, my partner, says we got another 10 hours left before I get shipped off to school. So exciting. It took a while to get there. Like you said, we have one training helicopter on an older OH-58 that is basically our spare pick apart, right? So if something goes down on the other patrol ships, they're going to pull it off that training ship, and then it's down till we either get it repaired, replaced. So training's been a progress getting there, but we were able to push through the last couple months and get a lot of that training done. So pretty close. Hopefully, fingers crossed, pretty close to getting, hopefully in the next couple months, getting that private pilot's license.
Good. You got a Hellistream for that?
We don't know yet. I don't know.
In the past, we've gone to Orbic. We've done some other schools, but we're going to figure out where we're going to go.
Very cool. That you're going to get to do that.
Yes.
And they'll take you through commercial, and then you'll be good to go.
Yep, for
Wow.
sure. Yeah,
Outstanding.
Well, he'll come back to his private. Mark will get him up to getting ready for his commercial. He'll go back and then finish out his commercial. So
Gotcha.
a lot of it's in-house.
But not all.
Not all.
Okay.
We do a mix.
That's
Right.
interesting.
Yeah.
Why?
Success.
Yeah.
Success rate.
It's
Okay.
worked for us.
Yeah.
We don't have the amount of pilots that maybe an LAPD does to have and just do a whole training program
Yep.
in the time with the limited amount of people and resources. So that's the main reason. But we get it in as we go. We'd love to just have them fly, and just all you're going to do is fly with the pilot, and
Right.
That's ideal. But we just don't have the resources to
Right.
do that, so we
And
make it
it's-
work.
It's more difficult when your CFI is the sergeant who's training the other sergeant.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? They're out flying for 2-3 hours a day. Not that he can't handle it, but it's an additional
Right.
task that. But luckily, like he said, our corporal just got his CFI, so he'll take the next trainee hopefully.
Yeah. The combo seems smart for you guys to
Yep.
do a combination there. Let somebody else do some of that extra, the enhancement,
Right.
the fine tuning, but you get a base of knowledge before you go to them. Does
So
that
it's-
sound about right?
It
what
is,
you're doing?
and a lot of the EPs we won't do in house with our helicopters
Right.
because they are
Sierra
our helicopters.
Plus.
Right? So some of those full downs and things like that we won't do in house. So that's why we'll use the schools. We don't
Yeah.
break ours. We'll break theirs. We don't.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
that
exactly.
we're
You
going
won't
to break
not that
any
you're
of
gonna
your
break anything. That's
They're
right.
insured.
That's right.
Right. But that's part of the process, right? We protect our fleet a little bit by
Okay.
going out.
So let's get to the big news. Some decisions have been made in recent past about your fleet and which direction you're going. What can you share with us about that?
Yeah, we have a good push for the Olympics, and that was part of it. I have a chief that came in about 3 years ago that saw the vision that I've been, myself and people before me have been screaming that we need to move forward. Our fleet is safe, but it's time.
Yeah.
So we're looking at. We just inked a contract on February 4th of this year to purchase 2 new Bell 505s.
Very exciting.
They'll be outfitted at Hangar 1. So
Fantastic. This is big news.
Yeah.
This is really big
Huge.
news. 2, not just, we're going to buy a Heller. We're getting 2.
Right.
And I'm sure that you have a vision for the future beyond that. We don't have to talk about that right now. We'll
Let's
get
just
those,
get those
2,
first.
right? So talk about the Bell 505, and then we'll get the CNC and Hangar 1 and kind of put it all together. But
Right.
the 505, how did that come on your radar, and why did you go that direction?
Yeah, we'd been out. They'd been out several times, brought it to the heliport in past meetings. I touched on a little bit, but we provide air support for 10 other agencies along the San Gabriel Valley, all the way out to Pomona, in between, in Glendora, Arcadia, Sierra Madre, San Marino, and many more.
Yeah.
We also assist Glendale, Burbank, the
Right.
Sheriff's Department. We'll get in the Altadena. We'll help them before the Sheriff's Department can get there from Long Beach.
Yeah.
So we're all over the place. And so being the third largest in LA County, besides your LAPD and the sheriffs, for a small agency like that's pretty. It's just not the norm.
Yeah.
But so we needed to do something different, and we needed that platform fits our needs. We're not doing hoist work. We're not doing, as you know, in LA County, people are jumping on each other to do rescues and do all those things. You can call somebody and somebody will be there in seconds, or
That's
more,
right.
multiple somebodies. So that's not what we do.
That's a good way to put it.
We see, observe, and report. And so it's a nice platform for us. What we need, a medium duty helicopter. The other would be more than we need. So
Absolutely,
and
you're
cost-wise.
you've had OH-58s over the years.
Right.
You've dealt with Bell, and so two Bell 505s are ordered up. What's the timeline?
So they started that process in December, so we didn't
Good.
slow anything down, getting the contracts all done and all that, how that all has worked with the attorneys. But so we're in line. We're looking at them coming from Maribel to Piney Flats, and then Piney Flats to Hangar 1 about October, November.
Fantastic.
So with that, and then we're looking to probably take possession around February of 2027.
Very exciting. That's really exciting. Talk about before we get to the mission equipment, talk about the CNC relationship here and why that was a good fit for what you're doing here with these 2 new aircraft.
Right, and it really fell into place. CNC is a great partner. They've been loyal to us. We've worked with them over the years for certain projects. They helped us with the Impact Task Force and getting that B2 from Ontario. We've done searchlights with them, some other smaller projects.
Certain single projects with them that have they've been
CNC.
great along the way. They've helped with these are the questions that your counselor's going to ask or whatever. here's a good.
They knew what was coming.
They knew what was coming.
Yeah, they've been there, done that.
Yeah,
that's
so
for sure.
naturally, just working with them, and as a unit manager, and anybody that's this was something for unit managers that are getting new equipment. It's like, I'm going to say cops do it more often than most, but it's like planning a wedding. You only do it once. You know, if you do it right, you only do it. I'm only doing it once.
And so, see what you did there.
And so, hi, honey. But so if you do it right, and so having the expertise, and if you know CNC, they hired a lot of ex-unit managers from all over the country, and so having those training wheels to not let me get off course and just to guide me through the process. There's just, again, you don't know what you don't know, and there's so much to it. And the worst thing you can do is either be influenced by getting something you don't need, because everybody wants all the bells and whistles,
right?
Or getting something that's just not suitable for the job. And so it's just having that safety net. And then what we've built into it, which is really exciting, is having them take over our mission suite, so our existing mission suite, and the new helicopters. So they've taken everything. So having one person to call if anything goes wrong, and we know nothing goes wrong in new helicopters.
No.
But when the map doesn't talk to the camera or whatever, we just call one person, and we don't have to worry about trying to figure out.
And then them pointing, that's all right. That's this. It's and then
you get rid of all that.
Yep, one call they figured out.
Yeah. Support. It's probably the key word with CNC is support. I mean, in many aspects, you've just covered multiple aspects where they supported you in the paperwork, the contract, the things that they're thinking, hey, you're going to need this. Because they've been there, done that, and they saw it many, many times. So they were already telling you ahead of time.
And they directed us to a lot of other agencies. They said, hey, this is an agency that just talk to them.
Yeah.
Let them help you out.
They know everybody.
So we were able to talk to the other agency. They hooked us up with all over the country and really asked some of the same questions over and over again, so we didn't make a mistake.
The purchasing process is always really challenging.
So awful.
It sounds like the CNC's come up with a way to kind of streamline that purchasing process. What was your experience there with that part of it?
Yeah, I mean, how do I put this? The purchasing process on the vendor side with the multiple vendors was the easy part. Our finance going through and learning the bidding and all the finance stuff, the bonds that we needed and all those things, that's what made it more difficult. And within this contract, it's not just the two helicopters. We have CNC Live, so we have a service support contract for that for 5 years. We have the mission suite that I talked about for 5 years. In addition, we're putting a receive site on our radio towers up on the hill above the Rose Bowl. So that's a receive site that's going to, take us to the future of sending that image down from the helicopter and then pushing it out. And so if the chief's out here tomorrow and something happens and needs to see if he has an internet signal, he can, wherever he's at in the world, he can see what's going on, what we're looking at real time. And so that's really pushing us into the next.
Yeah.
You guys for downlinking, that's a critical aspect of what you guys do because of the Rose Bowl, the Rose Parade. Talk about how that tool helps you guys do what you do and how that helps your city officials kind of manage some of this stuff.
Right. And we're not using it as much as we have in the past, and this is going to really push us to where we need to be. But just during some of the protests and civil unrest recently, we were doing some testing, and during the FIFA we tested we got a $0 PO, and we tested CNC Live, and we tested some of the things, and so they were able to give us a temporary dome on top of the Rose Bowl Stadium. Well, we were using that. We're going to use that for FIFA for the 6 matches that we had in 11 days or whatever it was, and so we're all set to go. And then we had some of this this ICE protests and things happening in the city. So we quickly said, hey, does that work over there? We said, I don't know. Let's see how far it goes. So we started and we used it in our the chief's office and up in the executive conference room, and they were able to see in real time. Unified Command, Fire was up there, and all the people that were interested, and they're seeing in real time. We're like, holy cow! And we're like, yeah, this is what we're trying to get. And they're like, hey, when is that thingy coming? They don't know the name of what it is, but they're asking, hey, do you have that thing that So they've seen the need, and like I said, the timing couldn't be better.
That's great that happened. And then you really got to test it and see it, and your command got to see it. Really valuable. So you mentioned Mission Suite. Let's go through the Mission Suite. You guys decide. Talk about what mission equipment's coming on the new 505s.
So we wanted to keep our equipment standard. Having those OH-58s for so many years, they've slowly built up technology, right? The front end, the back end, middle end, everything slowly. When something became available, we wanted the next best, greatest thing. So we had outfitted 3 of our 4 helicopters with MX-10 cameras. And the reason why we did that is we like the functionality of the camera. We like the remote felt right in the operator's hands who tested it, and it's ultimately that won out. All the other products were great, but ultimately that just won out. And so we stuck with the MX-10s. They've worked great. We've had great success with them, so we stuck with the MX-10s going forward on the new 505s. Same thing in the middle with the ARS systems. We had shot overs. Same thing. We're going to stick with those. We want that standardization. So if something goes down, something needs to go for an upgrade, we can pull from here and plug in here, and we're back operational like that.
Right.
Same thing. So in the back end, we're doing the Tracker lights, the Tracker 360s. I know they have a different version that's more of a spotted lens, but we like the 360s. It's lighter, and it rotates 360, hence the name. Instant on, instant off. LEP light, so not LEDs, but LEP is the next step in lighting. Less draw on current from the aircraft.
See, there's that submarine electric
But
just like on the sub, the tracker on the sub.
I can't talk about it.
different kind of tracker.
Oh, that's right.
But all three of those systems work together, and they've worked together in our history that we've had the MX-10s for many years, and we've had the ARS systems from Shot Up for many years. We're new into Tracker. We've only had the Tracker for maybe 2 or 3 years. It was a little 360s were a new camera coming out, so there was a little glitchy. But once they ironed them out, and the customer service has been great. Yeah. Once they ironed out, like any new product, right?
Yep.
But it was such a success that we're going to continue that moving forward with the new 505. So it's interchangeable products, right? Something goes down, swap it. The helicopter's back up without having any issues.
It's exciting,
and the same for the crews as well. And it's funny he's talking about shot over, because we just saw Tom Churchill over there earlier, and I reminded him that myself and Mike Ingram went out to Inglewood in Denver up there near the Denver's training facility, and we got in the helicopter and they were testing this new product in Churchill navigation, and we were one of the first customers in seeing it and what it is now, and it's
incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 160-plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
John and I can speak to this. We went up in their caravan yesterday and saw the M2.
Yep.
And both of us went, wow. Now, John had seen it before, but you got surprised by some stuff yesterday,
yeah,
too.
there's some new features. And that's what's cool about the shot over hardware is the software updates. So the day you get the thing is as least capable as it's ever going to be.
Exactly.
It gets better over time. And that's just not what most experiences you have are, And I actually I wrote an article about my experience with ARS. As a newer TFO, I got to transition to that program. Oh my gosh, it made our job so much easier, right? And then now seeing, that was the first revolution that I write about in the article, and the second revolution now is the camera. That camera system is absolutely amazing, and seeing what we saw yesterday,
it's incredible.
Through that demo flight, absolutely incredible. That is going to change the game in my mind. So really cool to see their stuff, and I know you guys are happy with the ARS.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's really amazing. And who's completing all this? CNC is coordinating. Who's completing your aircraft?
Yeah, so it'll be done at Hangar 1.
Yep.
So, they're awesome down there. Incredible. As you don't need to tell you how good work they do. So that was kind of the cherry on top. We didn't know who was going to do it. We had a couple other, but being close to just geographically,
that helps.
Like a little kid, we can go down there and check it out. And not fly across the country.
Do that?
No. I got to fly to San Diego to go look at it. That's a bummer.
Exactly. So
that is really good. It is very exciting, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, it's for both of you, but particularly Bradley. You've been there a long time.
It's been a long time coming.
You knew what you wanted to see that unit get to.
Right.
And now you're seeing it come to fruition after all these years. Because I know you pushed and encouraged and, said, hey, look what's available. Look what we can do. So how much do you think the World Cup had to do with this? I mean, it is significant because
so we're not doing too much with the World Cup here. And sorry to cut you off. We're not doing much
Olympics,
with the World Cup, but the Olympics, for sure, was a push. But it helped. I mean, it definitely. But like I said, our chief had the vision. He saw right away. He saw the need.
Yeah.
It didn't take much convincing. It was more of how do we navigate this and what's the right timing. It was never. And in fact, I kind of joke, and he was like, he's new and not knowing our Pasadena's a tough city to get stuff through and to get things through in big ticket items like that.
Right.
So there's a lot of opinions, and that's okay. That's good, but it can be tough for us sometimes. And so he had the vision, and he said, we're going to get 2 helicopters. I said, Chief, that's cute. Yeah. But wait till you get beat up a little bit here in Pasadena. Okay, whatever.
Good luck.
He didn't say this, but basically he said, hold my beer, and now we got 2 coming.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's cool.
And part of that was the decision to get the 505. He talked about the budget being you could have gone any size, right? Get anything. Well, 407's coming, and they would have said shut you down completely. So there was a fine line between one big one, 2 medium. So there was a fine line that he had to navigate, and without knowing the final budget, kind of playing with numbers, but without knowing the final budget of what we were actually going to get to play with.
Right. And you know what you needed it for.
Yeah,
you,
like I
you
said,
knew.
we're
Okay,
patrol.
we're not going to do this, and this. We're going to do this.
Right.
We're focusing on, patrol, capturing bad guys, and surveillance.
Surveillance.
Okay. Do I need all these other things?
Yep.
Maybe not.
Yep.
And economically smart, and you're getting 2. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot. What with the Olympics? What events are in Pasadena?
So for
the
sure we
Olympics?
have soccer. So that'll
Okay.
be back
So
at the Rose Bowl.
Okay.
We have soccer, and then the aquatic center just south of it will have diving. I believe it is diving.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
so
they move to the diving.
Well, those are
not the swimming, but the diving part of it.
two
So,
big things.
Right.
I mean, soccer alone that's a lot of matches because
soccer
it's
is
men's
serious.
and women's,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they're wow. Yeah, the Rose Bowl. Well, you worked special projects. You mentioned
Special events,
yeah. That must have been very interesting.
Took years off my life. It did.
I'll bet it did. That's
a
what
lot
I'm
of
getting
stress.
at. I mean there's a lot of pressure there.
Right.
You're dealing with tens of thousands of people for an average event,
Right.
and now you add a big event. The Rose Parade alone,
80,000 people, 90,000 people.
incredible.
And it's funny you say that because when you're doing it, you don't really realize. And we always talk about the pace of play in Pasadena for a small agency. It's just so much faster. We put on these world events, and it's just we just do it. And we have to, and so we don't even think about what you're doing. And then as I go to after I left, I had 4 years in that unit, and then I left, and then you go to certain places and you go, oh, there's only 20,000, 30,000 people. This is nothing. And I'm like thinking, 90,000 people at this. We had a walk that had 15, 20,000 around the Rose Bowl for Autism Speaks or something. So to us, those are nothing. And to a lot of people. So we do have that event planning class that we host every year, and we bring people from all over the country to come in and see. And I still get to go back and kind of walk the group around during the UCLA. It culminates with a UCLA game or an event. And so I walk them around, and because kind of a fraternity once you've done it. So
that's really, really cool. I mean, that stadium's been around a long time. It holds a lot. What's the max capacity?
Like 90,000.
I thought I was going to say 90,
Jeez.
and it's like 70's big. 90. That's over the that's bigger than average. We've been to events there. I mean, it's an incredible facility, and even though for how old it is, it really has held up really nice and a great location. So very interesting because that makes Pasadena unique.
Right.
Agreed?
Right.
Between the parade and the Rose Bowl's year-round events, that makes your agency very unique in a lot of things. And air support is part of that.
Huge.
Part of that puzzle, right?
During the events, we usually have, as large enough, we'll have a traffic lieutenant goes up with a TFO and a pilot dedicated just to that event and working traffic and then working the event and in the exterior, interior stuff. So that's a huge part of it.
And plus, the lieutenant from air support gets to go in the B-2 bomber for the flyby, I heard. Is that true?
Still waiting for that to happen.
We're waiting for that one.
Sorry. Maybe they'll do it before you retire.
We do coordinate that with them, though.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I was going to add to
them.
that I know that you guys coordinate with them.
Every year.
And that's an annual event. It's spectacular to watch for those that have, on TV, it's pretty cool. In person, it's really cool.
It really is.
So that's interesting. That's become a tradition, man, for many years, right?
Many years.
Very nice.
I know our time's short. I just want to touch on one more
Please
thing.
do, John.
You guys have held an annual fly-in event for a long time, and that event actually is what inspired me to plan Ontario's first fly-in after I had attended yours. I'm like, this is really cool. We need more of these. And now it seems to be, you guys. SBSO is now doing one annually. RSO is doing one annually. Talk about the benefits that you guys have experienced as an agency hosting that and what some of the lessons learned are from doing that.
It's interesting, the timing. I'll be brief, but we call it a disaster preparedness drill.
That sounds familiar.
And we got to use that.
Chili?
We got to use that. Unfortunately, during the Eaton fires, that
Oh,
area
yeah.
tested us in that, and so. But the benefit is the training, not just putting it on, but the training for the coordination, the holding areas, whoever's doing the tower, working and stepping them in to land safely, landing, the marshalling on the ground. So that's the benefit to our unit, and then just the coordination, because we bring the vendors, by the vendors being there and getting mild price for a booth or something pays for the costs. The vendors take care of all the other costs, so it doesn't cost the city anything. But the coordination, we do a little training this year. We're going to have someone from the FAA talking about the coordination with local law enforcement. So that's the short training we'll have there. But really, us getting to manage that and going through the process is a benefit for us, and we benefit, and we saw it happen. Unfortunately, last January during the fires.
And for those that don't know, tell them. I don't think it was mentioned. Where is the fly-in? Tell them.
Sorry, I did mention that. Yeah, it's right outside the Rose Bowl.
The Rose Bowl.
It lands right outside the Rose Bowl,
where people normally park for events.
Right.
There's suddenly parking, but it's dozens of helicopters.
And you said many years. It's actually our 35th year.
35th.
Wow.
This year will be our 35th year. So
Wow.
it's a really big milestone for us.
That's fantastic. And it's great. It's great. And like you said, you unfortunately got to experience using some of those skills and knowledge and experience in real life, but it worked too, didn't it?
Absolutely.
In the debrief of the Eaton fire, was that brought up where we said, man, we're glad we did that in the
absolutely.
past?
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's an important point, that you can find things. If you had to pick one, and I know we're limited on time, you had to pick one thing that having that fly-in for 35 years benefited you guys the most for Eaton when you're using it for a real-life disaster. Could you pick one?
I think just the coordination. Everybody knew what to do. Everybody relied back on that training, so it was not a lot of doubt of how are we going to handle this. It was like, we've done this before.
Yeah.
So
it's just another fly-in.
We'll just manage
just
it.
happens that it's real.
It's real.
Yeah. Wow. And that Eaton fire, that was right
rough.
there.
Right there. We evacuated the heliport. It was
Did you
rough.
really?
Oh yeah. Well, I say we evacuated. We were hosing down the facility.
Yes.
We had things ready to go.
Yeah.
I had to evacuate from that, and I had moved that night. I took my family to the heliport.
Yeah.
And that was about 7:00, and by 4 a.m. I think it was, I had to get them out of there.
Yeah.
Because that was next. So I
Secondary.
didn't move that far quick. So
it's funny you say that, because I remember watching from afar and seeing JPL in the background, and I thought about you guys.
Yep.
I do remember that JPL was threatened.
it was definitely in question.
And JPL's what? Is it a mile? 2 miles?
I
or
couldn't even
closer?
say that. Less than that. It's
Less than
maybe
a mile
maybe
and a half.
Mile and a half from your pad. You can see it. I mean,
Yeah.
you can see it right
It's
there.
probably less than that,
And
but
so, you were guys in the middle of that. Wow. Wow. Really interesting. Benefit of the fly-in.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. You don't want to find out, but when you do find out that stuff works, and I think you said it well, that people did it with confidence. They just went, oh, we know what to do. Oh, that mission accomplished with the fly-ins.
Yeah.
So we've theorized a lot about the benefits of a fly-in. What we don't theorize, we know there's a benefit that comes with the training and the networking that takes place there. But the actual application of what its intended purpose is, what you're talking about, the disaster preparedness, that's been a theorized part of all these conversations. You're the first agency we've spoken to that has routinely had fly-ins, and that training then is paid off as a result of something that's actually happened. That's interesting.
It's a very important point.
Yeah.
Because there's people, John, he brings this up a lot about the fly-ins with a lot of the agencies we've been at, and saying how valuable they are. And we know it, but even us, this is really encouraging to say, Pasadena can prove it's worth it. Because it takes effort, and there's people that say, oh, they're just getting together for lunch, blah, blah, blah.
Having a barbecue.
No, this stuff doesn't happen by itself. You better know about frequencies and communication and where landing zones are and what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And if you know that ahead of time from going in and happen to have a lunch and talking and networking, it becomes seamless when it hits the fan.
Right.
So
you described it as almost a non-event. Like it's another fly-in.
Yeah.
So that's why I think a lot of agents be like, oh my goodness, what do we do? How do we do this?
Yep.
That's the whole idea, is we're doing something so that when it actually happens, it's not our first time.
Yeah.
And
We
you guys
rise
are
to the
proof
level of
that.
our training. We don't rise any if you haven't trained it, you're not going to in the moment because you know, all of a sudden, rarely does that happen.
So it's like, why do you do all those auto rotations? Because they can happen.
Yeah.
And then when it does, I better be able to perform. I got one chance at it, right?
Yeah.
One chance to get this right. And if I haven't been doing my auto rotations, that may not go well. Yeah. Same thing here. If in the middle of a firestorm, I mean that both those fires were absolutely incredible. We've had guests on talking about flying and the G forces, and it was crazy what was going on there. And you're in the middle of it, literally. Man, really good that you can report on the success of that based on 35 years of fly-ins. Very cool.
Yep.
Glad you ended it with that, huh?
Thank you.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was really good. Well, we are excited for you. And I know you have a busy week. You're probably meeting with CNC and Bell and some of these other vendors, bringing all the fine-tuning stuff together. And
we
I'm
have
sure
a ceremonial signing tomorrow.
Tomorrow? What time?
I should know that. I think it's 3 o'clock. I'll find out for you. But
because we'd like to stop by and support you guys on that, because that's exciting. Those are always a big deal.
Yeah.
Where people are announcing new aircraft. So we're excited for you. And we're happy. We're really looking forward to talking to you again about how it all went.
Yeah.
And the information is really helpful for others that are going through the same process.
Maybe you guys should come to the flying.
Yeah, I'll be on a cruise. Actually,
you talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
You said, man, Bradley told me the date. Cruise.
Yeah, I won't be. I'll be gone, but I love it.
We'll do something when they get delivered. For sure.
Right.
There you go. There you go. It'd be great to get up there again. So, Lieutenant, this is so cool. Lieutenant Bradley May. Thank you, Bradley.
Thank you
for coming in. Dustin, it was great to meet you, Sergeant Dustin Gomez.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was great to have you guys and talk about this big event and in this atmosphere. I mean, this is as good as it gets.
Yep.
The only thing that beats the booth is the hangar.
Yeah.
We love going in the hangar. So maybe
next time
we'll end
at
up in a
your place.
hangar with a 505 in the background. So
that'll work.
We're thrilled that you gave us the time because we know this is a busy week.
Right.
This is not just walking around like some people think. No, these two are really have their hands full this week, and we had to work hard to get the time slot. And maybe we'll get to meet your command staff tomorrow and congratulate them too. That'd be wonderful.
Yep.
Closing thought?
Just thankful you guys joined us again. Like you said, you guys got a busy week. We talk about the conferences and how fun they are, the networking and the education, but the side part of coming here, especially for you guys, is meet with the vendors who are completing an aircraft for you, and that's a full-time deal, right? Yeah. So thanks again for taking the time to meet with us. Thanks for your insights. Pasadena is a beautiful city.
Yep.
It's one of the Southern California's got a lot of beautiful cities, but I think Pasadena is one of the most beautiful cities. So it would be a great place for us to go back to and visit in person. And again, just thankful for you guys.
I'd be happy to have you, and thanks for what you guys do for aviation and for law enforcement aviation.
It's our pleasure. Yeah.
Yep.
It's
keep fighting the fight.
So glad that he created this. I mean, this is so wonderful what we're able to do, and this hour is an example of it. It really is. I mean, we talked about a lot of important stuff that people will go, oh, we're about to do that, or we've been thinking about a fly-in, or oh, that Bell 505, oh, see, it's whatever it is. Lots of people drag things out of this and go, yep, we need that. So thanks for the compliment. We love doing this. So with that, still people going by. This is so cool here in the booth. With that, from Verticon here in Atlanta, Georgia, we really appreciate our sponsors. We really appreciate all the support, all the people that listen and watch and support us in so many ways. And we feel very lucky to be able to do this,
Absolutely,
don't we?
yep.
I mean, it's really fun for us. This isn't work. We won't let that on too much. But no, it's work, Mike. Oh my God, it's exhausting. How are we going to do it? This is great. So with that, stay safe, everybody, and we'll catch you the next time on the Hangar Z podcast.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Hangar Z podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more stories that promote the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation. Lastly, stand by for a message after a word from our sponsors. Cheers. Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 160-plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics. serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
Thanks to our sponsor, Dallas Avionics, who provides innovative products to law enforcement, the Department of Defense, Homeland Security, military, air medical, search and rescue, and special missions operations. Dallas Avionics distributes OEM equipment, including communications equipment, digital audio systems, PA systems, flight tracking, and other mission-critical devices. Visit DallasAvionics.com for more details.
Thank you to our sponsor, BLR Aerospace. BLR Aerospace's revolutionary fast fin system improves performance and enhances safety across various helicopter platforms. This cutting-edge aftermarket solution improves tail rotor effectiveness, stability, and payload capacity while reducing fuel consumption and pilot fatigue. Trusted globally, FastFin delivers unmatched control, efficiency, and reliabilities for diverse helicopter operations. Learn more at blraerospace.com.
Thank you for joining us on the Hangar Z podcast. We hope you enjoyed this conversation with Lieutenant Brad May and Sergeant Dustin Gomez from Pasadena PD. It's a very unique unit up in Pasadena. They support a lot of different agencies, and they've been around for a long time. Brad's fascinating in that he's been there in so many different capacities. And Dustin was a great example of what to do when you get to a unit with little or no aviation experience, and now you're part of that unit. He's a great example of how to move forward in that position. We hope you enjoyed this. Stay safe, and we'll catch you the next time on the Hangar Z podcast.